Hey,
Hey,
sup.
nothing. Is this much better quality? I would hope so.
Yeah, I think as far as I can tell, I think so.
Okay,
You can hear
that's
me
good.
fine and everything.
Yes, you're
Okay.
fine.
What'd you go see? What movie?
Uh, I just saw 500 Days of Summer again because my friend hadn't seen it.
That makes you twice as emo.
It really isn't that bad. They just have the Smiths and Belle and Sebastian references, and
That's enough. That's enough
Zoe
for me.
Deschanel dressed like a hipster. But what?
That's enough for me to make me check out and think that it's just Garden State redo.
No, you would like it. There are parts that you would really like. I promise.
I don't believe you. You know what I realized like the other day that
Hmm.
because I was watching because Justin just talked to my Glorious Bastards and we were talking about it, so now it's making me think about it. But you know, all the when I was watching Inglorious Bastards and stuff, and there's that like all those scenes where you're supposed to be like, "Fuck yeah, fuck the Nazis," and
Mhm.
for like 90% of them, I was like, I kind of feel bad for the Nazis, and I didn't
I felt
know
the same way.
what.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, and I was wondering like, cause I don't know, I used to have a very Tarantino sort of predilection for like toward violence and like justice and vengeance and stuff like that. And I don't know what the hell changed, or if the movie's just different than like maybe if I wouldn't even have liked it as a kid, but like I was thinking like maybe Doctor Who made me like not
I
like the
was just
violence
about
as
to say that
much.
actually. I think it was Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's the first. That's what I thought when I was watching it because I felt the same way. I was like, I really don't like the bastards. They're just so violent and they just revel in their violence and it really bothers me.
Hmm.
And I almost like the one I forget the name of the uh, Eli Roth character.
Yeah, the Bear Jew.
Yeah, the bear Jew. And he when you first see him before he goes on his like tirade of shouts, and he's beating up that Nazi officer.
Hmm.
I felt bad for that Nazi officer kind of because he was like I don't know, he's kind of steadfast in his cause and like, but he wasn't like I don't know, he wasn't uh he wasn't violent and he wasn't
Yeah.
I can't
No, it
remember what
was.
I was
It's
thinking.
sort of like
Like
I don't know. It's like it's sort of. I think I'm more of a slave to the sort of the stuff that I watched and I thought because when you watch action movies that make vengeance and vigilantism seem really cool, then like subconsciously at least I'm a little bit in favor of like vengeance and vigilantism. And then you watch Doctor Who and that makes like being a complete pussy really cool and like never hurting anybody ever. So like now
he's in
that's
a pussy though.
he's not a pussy, but he's he runs from things more often than not and doesn't hurt people at all costs. And like
Yeah.
even Torchwood, even when they kill people in Torchwood, it's never like yeah, fucking killing people. It's like these guys are retarded. Like they're only killing people
Yeah.
because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're like idiots, like
Right.
small children running
Yeah. Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about that a lot, and then I'm playing I'm playing a bunch of games right now, and they're all about violence and stuff like that. And like every time this, like I'm okay with doing it myself because whatever, I can just look at them as little computer characters. But when every time the story's like this guy's got to die, and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna think it's awesome. I'm like I don't know if I do think it's
What
awesome.
games are you playing that have that in them?
The Godfather 2, which is, I mean, it's basically just following the story of the movie with really major exceptions. But like, there's the
Yeah.
story of the movie is really dense, and there's all this double crossing and stuff, and there's a lot of also family and drama stuff that doesn't revolve around shooting people. But the game's like fuck that, families for faggots, and just makes it like all shooting and stuff. But they still
Yeah.
try to like get those basic plot beats in there. So instead of like Hyman Roth trying to kill Michael's family and like failing, and then that's how Michael finds out that Hyman Roth are trying to kill him. They're like, you're gonna go to Cuba and assassinate Fidel Castro, which is not in the movie at all. Like, it's just
What?
something they made up.
What?
They're like, you're gonna go assassinate Fidel Castro because fuck Fidel Castro, and you're like, all right. And so they send you and you shoot him in the face with a sniper rifle, and a cutscene's like, haha, he lived because we don't want to. We're not Quentin Tarantino. And we don't want to contradict history. They're like, okay.
Right.
And so you fail at killing Fidel Castro, but instead of Hyman Roth being like a backstabber, you're just like, oh, you fail, so you leave. And Hyman Roth's like, well, shit. I guess I have to pretend like I wasn't friends with you because now they found out who you are, and like I have to just for the sake of keeping up appearances and not getting killed with the government, I have to pretend like I was never your friend or whatever. And then so you go back and Michael Corleone and all these people are like fuck that guy, let's kill him. There's literally a scene where they're like let's kill him and every single person he knows and destroy all of his businesses and take him over completely. And that CIA guy you were talking to who was really cool and he looked like Sean Bean, you're gonna kill him too because fuck that guy. And I was like, what? It was literally like this just like 30-second just tirade of like, these are all the people you're gonna kill because fuck them and because you want that. And then there's a little character who looks like me because I went through all this trouble to make him look.
You made him, yeah.
Yeah, look a lot like me. And he's like, yeah, fuck those guys. It's like, what? Alter ego Anthony, you're an asshole. Like, I don't.
Maybe you should stop making characters look like you.
That's never gonna happen because if
They never look like you anyway. They look
do.
like
I think
either like black or they just look too like Amenajad. They're too like on the spectrum of Anthony to Amenajad. They're too Amenajad.
But they work because like all you need to do is get a brown guy, give him like slightly parted hair, black hair, and then give him stubble, and like voila, it's me. All I have to do is squint a little bit.
Why do you completely simplify yourself?
I know that's how it works. Because if I actually cared about like the way that like the nuances of my nose and stuff like, it's like fuck it. I have to spend an hour making a character who doesn't really look like me. But every once in a while,
but your guy in Fight Night,
what?
It doesn't look like you. Your guy in Fight Night?
Not really. He looks enough like me. He didn't look black.
He's black. No, he's
you
black.
made that shit. No, that's bullshit. He's not black.
No, everyone thinks
You're
he looks
racist.
black. He is black.
Not everyone is saying it was you and
He's
Mom.
black, y'all.
He's
black, y'all.
So
he's black and he's black and he's black, y'all.
I hate you. But no, I don't think I'll ever be able to stop making characters who look like me because there's always the possibility of like a Saints Row 2 situation where me running around in clothes, like the exact clothes that I wear, looking pretty much like me, like fighting ninjas on motorcycles holding a katana in a cutscene. Like there's nothing better in the world of time and space and gaming than that. And I don't want to risk.
Was that the same game that you went around kicking people in the crotch?
Yeah. Dad says Dad doesn't understand what a podcast is, so he said I love you. That's Dad saying he loves you.
Oh, love you, Dad.
Yeah, now everybody gets to hear that. She says I love you too. You're ruining the podcast. You're fucking. Yes, Ashley is racist because she thought that my character in Fight Night looked black.
That doesn't make me racist. He does look black.
He can't hear your protestations, so it's fact now. He knows you're a racist.
No, Daddy. I love black people.
But have you played any games where it allows you to sort of make your own character? And
yeah.
Have you ever tried to make one that looks like you?
Yeah, and then I just give up because it's just too much work. I think I kind of go your route, but I don't think it looks like me. I'll give them like longish black hair or shortish black hair, depending, and make them
Depending
slightly
on what
brown.
Time of day it is.
Huh?
Depending on what time of day it is, because your hair changes like the wind.
Like, yeah. Like, she's like the wind.
Well, I was talking to people, some chicks when the Penny. That sounds so cool out of context. I was talking to some chicks when the Penny Arcade, the first Penny Arcade adventures came out, where you could make your own like Penny Arcade-ified version of yourself. And I was like, oh man, you got to make it like a version of yourself, like to all these girls I know, both of them. And they were like, they had no options. They just couldn't fucking do it. They came up with were like two hairstyles. It's like you were a girl and you're a slut. Like those are the options, and then you have a nose. And they just
You feel like there are a lot of. Well, your Penny Arcade character looked pretty accurate.
Yeah, my
actually.
Penny Arcade character looked fucking incredible. It looked like me as the 10th Doctor, but everybody else, like every girl character I tried to plug in looked like, I don't know. It was this weird sort of admission that no girls actually play our games. So fuck it, it's probably not worth the effort.
Really?
Not that that's
No, but yeah, that's what the design element kind of suggested. That's strange. How did they feel about that?
Sort of ambivalent, but I was trying to make them feel less ambivalent about it because I was talking to Tiff about it, and she was having trouble, and she was like, "Well, whatever." I was like, "No, you don't understand. It's the coolest fucking thing in the world to see a Penny Arcade version of yourself running around doing awesome shit." And she's like, "Well, I don't really mind." I was like, "You should be fucking upset about this." And she's like, "Well, no." But we were talking about sexism last week, and not to prolong that conversation any longer, but I was going
to go into it, but I was like, this is going to be like every single hot podcast.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But no, there was actually something really cool that happened right after. Well, not really cool, but something that happened after the podcast that was worth mentioning. Because the Dante's Inferno, you've heard about the Dante's Inferno game?
Actually, I haven't. Which makes me horrible. I'm sorry. But go ahead. Tell me about it.
Whoa, my fucking Skype speaker has been going down this entire time. That's awful. So I've been getting progressively quieter.
Oh.
But yeah, no, the Dante's Inferno game is basically this. It's a game adaptation of Dante's book, and
right.
Not Dante's book. Yeah, Dante's. Wait, no, fuck. Dante Alighieri. Sorry. For some reason, I thought Homer, and I was like, that's not right at all. But yeah, it's an adaptation of that, and you go through the Seven Circles of Hell, and their whole ad campaign has been based around the seven deadly sins, and the like lust level that they showed off at the Tokyo Game Show was like you're basically getting attacked by all these sexual objects and sexual creatures, and like the woman with like huge tits that's like has shot babies out of them, and like milk and violence and blood and stuff like that, and like yeah, and like vagina creatures that attack you and stuff like that, and I saw that and I thought, yeah, okay, well, whatever, no big deal. I mean, I guess, what else are you going to do for a lust game? I mean, apart from like having like a rhythm game where it's about fucking. So I guess that makes a kind of sense. But then Anthony Perry, this guy on Destructoid who makes some pretty cool art games and gave me a shirt, so he's super cool, mentioned that like there are no penises. Like you're only killing vaginas and boobs and like mutilating female organs. And some guy was like,
Really?
yeah, and Hamza had played a little bit of it, and he was like, well, there's a wall of penises at one point. But like nobody mentioned anything about like the only enemies in that like lust area are vaginas and boobs,
Yeah.
and you're basically just like brutalizing all this stuff. And like I was trying really hard to just like extricate myself from what my initial reaction to that would be, which is that's really horrifying and sexist, and just think like, well, maybe there's some explanation for it, but I literally couldn't come up with anything that made me feel okay about
Yeah.
that. What do you think?
Like,
about
what was your thought process? What?
Well, I was thinking like, okay, well maybe because just I guess if you're gonna have no, that's as far as that sentence got, and I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like I was even now I was trying to formulate something and it just didn't come up. I mean, it's like violence against women and women only, and I understand that it's super stylized and it's not saying you should go out and beat women, but at the same time, like it's implying that you would not. It's implying that there's something different about cutting up a dick than there is about cutting up a boob. And since the game seems to be about trying to be disturbing and stuff like that, then they're saying that it's somehow more disturbing to not cut up your own dick. But that doesn't make any sense because I have a dick and I know it would be painful to cut up my own dick. So I tend to think that they're just using the boobs and the vaginas as titillation. But then where does the violence come in? You're supposed to enjoy essentially mutilating genitalia of females only, and to see a dick would somehow like kill your buzz, which just made me imagine like a bunch of bros sitting in a room going, "Oh man, this game's fucking dick, gay, gay, turn it off." Like, I don't know, but how do you feel?
That actually makes me think that my mind didn't jump to violence against females first. It actually jumped to the fact that mainstream society, like even I guess what made me think of is that even today we don't like to admit that females like are sexual beings in general, because if that level's about lust, then that means that the game is assuming that you are a male that's being attacked by like
Well, I think you're playing Dante, so your character is a male that you're controlling.
Right, yeah. So you're being attacked by your own lustful thoughts. Well, I guess if you're playing as Dante, then that's kind of, it makes my point kind of moot. But what made me think of it is that I kind of like, I feel like in media, like just the media that like I can think of off the top of my head, women don't really seem to engage in sexual behavior unless it's like a means to an end. There's very little like focus on women being sexual in a way that's just like for the means of pleasure itself. In the same way that's not on the same level as like guys like masturbation jokes and stuff. There aren't a lot of masturbation jokes in the female community, I feel. We don't throw those around very much. But like,
I think it's probably because you don't do it as much.
Yeah, I guess it's just maybe like a difference in gender, and like it's not as like.
Well, that was what I remember. I was reading an interview with Louis C.K. when he was talking about the show he had for a little while, that Lucky Louie, that kind of sucked, unfortunately. But someone was asking him like, "There's a lot of like male nudity in this show. Like, why do we see your dick so often and never like you're the woman who plays your wife's boobs?" He's like, "Well, because dicks are funnier. Like, boobs are really pretty." Like, he was literally like, "Boobs are pretty and nice and they make me happy and they're not funny at all. And dicks are like hideous and it's like hilarious every time you see one." I was like, okay, I guess I can get
Maybe
behind
that's part
that.
of the reason that they thought that if you were cutting up dicks,
I don't think that was
funny.
their thought process. I can't imagine they were like, you know what, we can't have people cutting up dicks because that's too hilarious. Like, I somehow don't see a big boardroom full of people writing like, you have to imagine there was so much like weird ass concept art like lining the walls of that place. It was like titties with like dicks coming out of them and then babies coming out of those with like knives in their teeth and horns and shit.
It's just so ridiculous to me that I can't even like babies coming out of tits and shit. That's just like.
I think I may be overstating that. I may have been misinterpreting that.
Really? Okay.
But there was definitely.
But it's like absurd past the point of offense.
Well, there was definitely like big ass tits with like what seemed to be like evil milk coming out of them, and the tits were attached to me. They weren't just like floating around, because that would be hilarious, and I would. I would play that game without reservation or like even the slightest hint of remorse. If you were just going around just cutting up floating boobs, that would be funny. All accusations of sexism would go away in that situation.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's I guess that is a problem. I mean, I guess now I'm trying to go through the justification thing myself.
Yeah, and it's fucking it's hard. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I was trying to think like maybe like from Dante's point of view, like, but then still like, why does he need
And there's it couldn't even be Dante's point of view. Yeah, it couldn't even be Dante's point of view, because it's like no human being is completely focused on only boobs.
Yeah.
You would be thinking about dicks, even if it was just to say, man, I hate dicks. Like, and how much I love boobs and is how much I hate dicks, and you would still be seeing dicks that you would have to attack.
No, you have to attack, yeah. Yeah, there's no way around it. That's just horrible. That's just
yeah.
That's just terrible.
But going back,
when is this being released?
When is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me look it up.
And on what platform?
Dante's Inferno game Wikipedia. Did you see that Conan O'Brien doing the voiceover for the anime?
No.
You need to immediately.
I really want to.
It comes out.
Amazing?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's Blood the Last Vampire, and they do like they read the title aloud when it shows up, and like it's all dramatic looking. They're like Blood the Last Vampire, and then like let's do a happy one, and Conan's like Blood the Last Vampire. February 2010.
Oh wow. Okay.
Being
so they can really perfect the floating boobs by the time it comes out.
Well, Dante's Inferno, whoever is doing the viral marketing for Dante's Inferno is actually pretty goddamn clever. If like if like an asshole, because at E3 they were. What the fuck?
What?
Did you press a button?
Die?
Yeah, I heard a button press.
No.
Oh god, I got scared for a second. I thought I disconnected you. Anyway,
no.
Yeah, like at E3 they had this big group protesting the game that was saying like EA stands for Electronic Antichrist, like signs like that, and saying that it was like hell, real life has no extra lives or something like that. And this group seemingly came out of nowhere, and like the more anybody thought about it, they're like this is a fucking viral marketing ploy by the guys who made Dante's Inferno. Like they paid these people to come out and fake anger at Dante's Inferno.
You remember? Yeah, you told me about this actually.
Did I?
Yeah, I think so, because you said that it was way too clever to be an actual like protest sign.
Yeah, the signs were like too funny. They were too like well, they weren't well thought out, but they were like silly. And I remember Jonathan Holmes and his friend Andy went up and interviewed them, and like asked them to basically try to debate with them as if they were real people, and asked them about games and stuff like that. And some guy accidentally like revealed way too much knowledge about video games. He was talking about playing like Mario Kart 64 battle mode. He was like, "Wait, you played Mario Kart 64?" And he's like, And he like went quiet because he realized he probably just blew his fucking cover or something.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then they mailed out for Greed to represent Greed. They mailed out $200 checks to a bunch of different like blogs, Destructoid included, and we're saying that like you have to basically decide whether or not you want to cash this $200, because if you do, then that says something about your journalistic integrity and your greed. But you'd also be giving up the opportunity to do some good with the money if you don't use the money. And it was actually kind of interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. Like like Kotaku, Brian Crescente got the check and he burned it, which was actually which would have been more clever if it weren't for the fact that like it's a check, so they didn't lose any money by him burning that. I mean, it was symbolic of like I'm not going to take your money and I'm not going to play your little game, except by videotaping it and putting it up, they basically just gave them a shitload of press, and gave them exactly what they wanted. And then Detoy did something that I still don't really understand, but was I think they were trying. I think it was over my head, because they were like they took all the money and they cashed it and spent it on like tacos, and like videotape, like literally videotaping themselves like making it rain on each other, and like the most obscenely like immoral thing that could possibly be done with the money. And I think it was. I think they were being ironic. I think that was the intent. But like, I'm not sure.
Let's just say that they are. Let's just say that.
We'll pretend that they are for the sake of argument.
Yeah, we'll just pretend.
But what would you do if you got the $200? What would you do with it?
This is like that question. Okay, this is not at all like this question, but I'm just gonna say it anyway.
Is this gonna be another thing where you hyperbolize and you're like, this is like slavery and the Holocaust combined?
Is there a way to like under hyperbolize, like go the other way? Because that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Or maybe no. Actually, no. I think it's actually just hyperbolizing. It's like that question that they ask you, where it's like, actually, it's not at all like that question. I just keep starting.
Wait, is hyperbolizing even a word?
I don't think so.
It feels like it ought to be, because that's like an.
Let's
that would
pretend
be,
like it is. Let's pretend that Decoy was being ironic, and let's pretend that
this is Cog Dissonance Hour on Hey Ash, Whatcha Podcast.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this, and I don't think it actually works at all. But it's like that question. It's like that they ask you, where it's like there are people tied to train tracks. There's one person, but the train is going one way. There's a person tied to that track. If you hit a switch, it'll divert. Let me start over.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking. Okay, there are 5 people tied to a train track. The train is going one way. If you hit a switch to divert it, there's one person tied on the other track, and you would kill them actively if you change the direction that the train is going. But if you just let it go, then 5 people would die.
Yeah, that's fucking straight up hyperbole. You went from $200 in journalistic integrity to like killing 18 people or 1 person.
Yeah.
The logical jump there. You are hyperbolizing like a motherfucker.
That should be like my rap name. Hyperbole.
DJ Hyperbole, and it's like a dot and then a capital E.
Yeah. That's my rap name.
But no,
and I say that because in both circumstances, I really don't know what I would do.
You took us all around the world just to say fuck. Yeah, I don't really know. You wasted everyone's time. That was an hour.
What the fuck else are we going to talk about? You have 45 more minutes of material. I'm just taking up time right now. I would cash it and spend it on hookers. I would cash it and spend it on candy. I would.
These are not real answers. You can only have one answer. You can't throw out a bunch of possibilities and just make me pick the best one.
I'm giving a bunch of options, and then anyone can pick their favorite.
Those aren't options. If you have the money, you can't go quantum physics and then make different versions of yourself do different things. There's just one. There's one fatty, one choice.
That should be a tagline for a movie.
What fatty? What choice? It's like a really dramatic-looking picture of you just like looking slightly sideways at something, and you're like covered in shadow.
Photoshop with like 200 more pounds on me, and I'm like, it's like my face over like the New York skyline.
What? Like you're making the choice for the world.
What?
Like you're making a choice for the world. Like it's not just your choice.
One fatty, one choice, and I'm making a choice for the world. And I probably have like a little bit of ice cream on my shirt.
I was thinking you'd be holding an ice cream sandwich in like both hands. You'd be dual wielding ice cream sandwiches, and you're still and like the ice cream is just dripping off your face, but you're still like really pensive. So like while you were thinking about it really hard, you needed something to jog your brain. So you're just eating ice cream sandwiches in both hands, like while you're considering this massive choice that's going to change the world.
I actually imagine that though, that like the ice cream sandwiches, that's like a stance of power though. It's like I'm holding them up, like I'm wielding them.
What?
But I feel like there's like.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Because like imagine my stance, I'm like holding 2 things and like my arms are up in the air.
Yeah. Okay.
Understand.
But that makes it seem like you've made your choice. Like you're very proud of yourself. Yeah.
Right, and if I have, so I like the ambiguity of me just like fat, incredibly fat. But over the New York skyline, like I haven't decided what the choice I'm gonna make.
Well, I imagined you just holding
really any choice.
I didn't imagine you like thrusting at the ice cream sandwiches triumphantly. I imagined this like being in your hands as if like you don't even realize you're there. Like you've just sort of got your hands at your sides, and like the ice cream is like rotated slightly, so you've actually got like ice cream like dug into your fat side, but you're so fat that you can't feel it, and it's like it would frostbite you, but you just don't even notice. Because it's got to get through layers.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, you weren't holding them out like lightsabers. They were just sort of like there, like your accessories, like bracelets.
I thought they were like triumphant ice cream sandwiches.
Oh no! The Triumphant Ice Cream Sandwiches is the name of my debut solo album. That's the name of my band.
You have a different name though. You had a different name that you thought of for your debut solo album.
I've had about 800 names for my debut solo album. I've had a lot of pictures of myself. for the debut solo album. Every time you come in and I'm like in a weird gay pose on the bed, like resting on my elbows and sort of like looking over my own butt at something like salaciously. You're like, what is? I'm like, this is the photo from my new debut album. It drops in '09.
Didn't Dad have like a stance like that at one point?
Yeah.
You were at a relative's house or something, and then you kept leaning over to me and saying that's Dad's debut album.
Yeah, that's the cover for Dad's solo project.
I'm going solo.
I'm going solo. Dave Birch going solo.
Dave Birch going solo. I think that's what it was.
And it's in the exact. Yeah, and Going has an apostrophe after it, and like Going Solo is written in the exact same font as Thriller, as Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yeah. I really want to just Photoshop all of the ideas that we have, and I especially now want a poster of One Fatty, One Choice. I don't know what the name of that movie would be. There should be a movie. Like, what's the name of the movie that has that tagline?
I don't know. Well, what was the thing I just said was going to be my debut album? Because I forgot already.
Triumphant Ice Cream Sandwich, I think.
Triumphant Ice Cream Sandwich? Yeah, that wouldn't be a good movie name. No, we got to come up with something else.
Yeah, we have to think on that one. Submit your suggestions for that movie.
don't submit your. I'm not going to respond to your fucking suggestions for what we should name the One Fatty, One Choice movie. Under no circumstances will I email you back and be like, you know what? That's pretty good. It's reasonable. It's like, it's a very well thought. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like I could do that with reverence when people are like, I disagree with this part. I'm like, you know what? You make a pretty good point. I can't do that with a fucking. This is what I think should go on your stupid imaginary poster where your fat fucking sister is sitting there with ice cream sandwiches saying One Fatty, One Choice.
Does anyone want to Photoshop that? The visual I have in my mind is amazing. It's like New York at like a daybreak.
Nobody's gonna.
It's shadow on my fat.
Then it's not gonna match up with like the fatty choice of your imagination.
No, but it'd still be fun. I just like, for some reason, I just like imagining like or like people drawing pictures of me super fat. Like, remember when Jeff had that dream of me that he came back from I came back from college and I was like 200 pounds or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had a little bit of ice cream on me then, I think, actually, or I was like holding an ice cream cone.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't make me turbo fat when he drew it. I asked him to draw it, and he like made me slightly fat. But I wanted to be turbo fat so badly. So
yeah.
someone do that, and I'll.
I think there's a subdivision of like furries who have that fetish.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's I mean that goes without saying because furries have every fetish known to man. Furries don't want to be eaten alive. The Vors. So I'm sure, but there was a weird one I remember from Something Awful that was like not just being fat but being like inflated, like someone putting an air pump in you and like making you the size of a balloon, like round and shiny.
Really?
Yeah, I remember it distinctly because I remember that was the moment when I realized that like the world would never be okay. Like we're never gonna get universal health care. Like we're never gonna decide on world peace. You know, we're never gonna get our energy problem solved because there are people in the world who think that like their rocks get off by imagining themselves getting like pumped up with a balloon, like they're fucking enemies in Dig Dug.
I just have this image of you like about to take a bite of a sandwich, and you see that, and you just put it down, and Ashley Davis is like, "What?" And you're like, "I gotta go," and you like just go to the shower. A cold shower.
I'm just hugging my knees and just rocking back and forth.
And you're just like, you can't even say anything.
Yeah.
And you just come back and you don't even want to eat your sandwich anymore, and you're like really excited about it.
I just look at the fucking thing and I just throw it away. I like with the plate. I just throw the plate and the sandwich in the fucking trash with like no regrets. And Davis is like, well, why'd you? I'm like, no. And you just have to watch you just do a Doctor Who marathon just to make yourself feel better. And it doesn't make any better. Yeah, it doesn't work at all.
It doesn't actually make it any better, and you just go to bed at 7:30. This is like.
That's the best detail I've ever heard. You go to bed at 7:30.
Ashley's really concerned about you. You wake up the next morning and she's like, "Honey, why'd you go to bed so early?"
And it's
like, I can't talk about it.
And deep in my bones.
Huh?
Yeah, deep in my bones, I thought, you know what? Maybe if I sleep, I'll forget about it, and I'll wake up and it'll be like a new, it'll be never happened. I wake up
and
a
new day,
and it's still fucking there. I wake up and the first thing I think about, the first thing I think about is a fucking fox that's been inflated to the size of a balloon and is all shiny, and like some dude wearing like fake fox ears and a little foxtail that's attached to his belt is like holding him on a string, just walking around the park, like so happy, and then he like takes it behind the bathroom and fucks it, and then I just and then I start beating Ashley Davis like mercilessly, like without regret, like with no explanation. I just wake up and just punch her in the like she's still asleep, and I just punch her right in the face, like as hard as I can. And she's like, "Why?" I was like,
back.
and I'm like fucking
Just go back
yiffing, and
to
then
North Carolina.
yeah, she goes back, and
And
it's
you
like
and Dad start fighting, and
Yeah.
Dad just like kicks you out of the house. And
and then I start doing meth, and I'm like, no, I have to finish my screenplay for One Fatty One Choice, but I need the title, and then I just fucking live it out of my car, and
I come back from college, I'm like, Anthony, what happened?
you're like, and I stab you, I stab you like right in the face,
You
like
just
with
stabbed me.
no.
Like, you just stabbed me.
Because I'm a
And
meth
I die?
because
I'm
a meth addict at this point, so I'm not gonna like, oh, Ashley, how you doing? I'm like, no, fucking stab it. I saw candy in your nostrils, so I'm gonna just fucking cut to get to them. But it actually reminds me of that. Remember the time I told you when I was working at Blockbuster, and like I was eating the Choco Taco in the back room, and I started crying.
Wait, what?
I thought I told you about this.
Yeah, I remember Choco Taco, but you started crying?
Yeah, no, it was like the funniest thing in the world. It wasn't like sad crying. It was like I felt the weight of like humanity and like the existential crisis of being human like on my shoulder. Because it was, I was working at Blockbuster, and I was before I met Ashley, so I was really lonely, and everybody had already gone off to college. And I think maybe we're still around. Maybe you were gone. I can't remember. The timeline gets hazy. But like I just been working, and I've been promoted to like assistant manager or something, or like store manager. So whenever anybody, if I was the only person there and it was me and like a regular guy, then I was like technically manager. So I was like actually getting sort of high up in the Blockbuster chain. And I took a 15-minute break, a mandatory 15-minute break, and I was really hungry. And like I think I've been working here for like 4 months or something, maybe less. And I was looking in the cooler that's just by the little checkout stand, and there was like a bunch of ice cream in it, and there was a Choco Taco there, and I was like, I've never had a Choco Taco before.
Oh my god,
You're
gonna make me cry.
No, it gets funny.
I really think so.
It's funny because it's like this weird, like, I don't know, but it was like the most hilarious moment of my life, even though I didn't seem funny at all. I was like, I've never had a Choco Taco before, I guess I'll try one of those. And I just sat back in the back room. I sat back in the back room, like, in front of the computer. Like, I could have gone into my car. I could have gone outside and gotten some fresh air. But I sat back next to the clock-in, clock-out computer, just sitting there, just next to the shitty bathroom I'm going to have to clean in a few minutes, and, like, the fucking little dispenser for water with little paper cups that you crumple up immediately afterward. I was just sitting there with fucking nothing else to do, just eating a chocolate. I grab it, I start eating the Choco Taco, and I get, like, 2 bites into it. I'm like, this is pretty good. And then I just start fucking, like, crying. Because it's like the entire, like, it's just sitting alone in the back room of a store that you're working at, wearing a blue polo shirt and khakis, like getting promoted to this position you didn't think you'd be at. That's the perfect encapsulation of like living in the 21st century. Like, I've got an iPod, things are awesome, I'm sitting there eating a processed piece of ice cream that's pretending to be a chocolate taco, and like I'm in the fucking back room of a Blockbuster. I just started like, but like while eating it, and it was like this weird like half sob. It was like no tears, but I was like sobbing and like eating the fucking Choco Taco because it was really good, and like knowing that I had like 10 minutes left before I had to go back to work. It was like the totality of that moment just like struck me, and like I could see the universe, like I could see the whole of time and space and my place in it, like in that exact moment. It was like when Rose turns into Bad Wolf when she looks into the time vortex. It was literally that. I was literally the fucking Bad Wolf in that moment. I understood everything. It was like
that makes it sound better than it is.
No, it was great because like no matter how long it was like, I mean, I was, it's like the way people just talk about like really religious people when they talk about like the way you're supposed to act when you see God. Like you're supposed to get really scared and you're supposed to start crying, you're supposed to like freak out in all these ways that aren't conducive to like what you would think happiness is equivalent to. But like just being in the presence of that sort of intelligence and that sort of knowledge like makes it goes beyond sort of regular human emotion in terms of how, happy or sad or anything like that. It was like fucking that. It was like I've been to the Choco Taco and became Rose and saw God and understood everything. And then I fucking I didn't even finish the fucking thing. I got so sad, like 3/4 of the way through the fucking thing, I just threw it away. I was like, fuck it, I don't need the calories. And then just fucking clocked back in and went back to work. Wiped the tears away, just fucking clocked back in and went back to work. It was like the most perfect moment in my life. Like, no matter what happens, that moment stands out because I will never again achieve that level of, like, just understanding. Like, total consciousness.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Anthony. Like, for a while, like, you literally, like, my heart hurt hearing that. Seriously. The only funny, like, I could only start laughing when you said the words Choco Taco, because that's a really funny sound.
That's what makes it so funny. It's like, that whole story wouldn't work if I just gotten, like, an ice cream sandwich or, like, an ice cream bar. Or like a little, like a drumstick. It had to be a Choco Taco. I had to be sitting there wearing like really worn khakis that are mandated by the Blockbuster dress code, sitting in front of the fucking clock in, clock out computer with a fucking Choco Taco in my hand. And it had to be the first time I'd ever had a Choco Taco, and it had to be like enjoyable. It had to be like good to like contrast everything else in my life.
When you said like under your breath, like I've never had one. These look pretty good. And then like when you started eating it, you're like, this is pretty good. Like, I need a breath. Like, oh my god.
I fucking specifically remember thinking those like exact words, just looking down, just my hands in my pockets, just looking down in the fucking little cooler, just saying, well, I guess I could have like a Neapolitan ice cream thing, or I could have like what looks to be like a frozen banana.
This is like better than the Holocaust for me.
No, it's so fucking great. It was like I could have a little ice cream bar with a stick coming out of it. Looks like a dilly bar with like with little Rice Krispie things in it. Well, this is a Choco Taco. I've never had one of those before. It might be good. And I had to.
It was food.
And I fucking paid. No, I missed the part. No, here's the thing. I fucking paid for it too. So because I had to buy it because I couldn't just have it because I worked there. So I paid it. I was like, I had to
pay for it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to pay for stuff. I mean, if you work there, you don't get to just steal stuff because you work there. You just get to eat all the fucking Sour Punch straws. Just fucking. So I bought it. I remember buying it and feeling just a very brief, very momentary, like almost imperceptible like moment of just like triumph. It was like, oh, I get a 25% discount. It's $170 instead of like $195. That's pretty cool. And then I fucking went back and ate the Choco Taco. Like, it was just this little moment of like, well, I guess there's something. I got a 25% discount on a $2 item.
God, Anthony!
Like,
no, you don't understand. This is the saddest fucking story in the world. I can't handle it.
This is the greatest. Oh, it's so good. Well, I remember.
Like, no, because like the only recourse, like the only thing that's like gratifying you is that you saved 25%. That's the saddest thing in the world to me.
It's so fun, but it's like the greatest. It was, it was miserable at the time, but like it's the greatest hindsight story ever. Because like I can legally never work at a Blockbuster Video again, and like my life is much more gratifying.
That's right. You should tell that story.
I think I've told it on Retroforce and stuff.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. So I think people know, or if they don't, then they'll probably mention it in the show post, and they'll talk about it next week. But I don't want to spoil all my cool Blockbuster stories in one go. But
okay. Oh, God.
But yeah, I mean, it's such a great story to hear in hindsight. I remember, I don't know if it was before or after that, but I remember I told you about that scene that I had in the zombie movie in my mind that I was like thinking about writing.
Cookie Day. I remember you telling me about that, and it made me really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Cookie Day. I'll talk about some other week too, if anybody remembers that. Because the problem with all of our good stories is that they all interconnect, and if we actually like take a logical progression, then there's going to be about 3 episodes of Hey Ash, What You Playing, and the rest is going to be like, so about sexism in games. What other angle have we not covered? So yeah.
I ended up being a misogynist in one episode because we don't have anything else to talk about.
Well, yeah, we'll probably get
women, fucking bitches.
We'll probably get Grant and Justin and Davis on here and stuff. We gotta get some we gotta get some new blood.
But no, the whole I was freaking out about the food thing because I don't. God, that's like the combination of like the worst things in the world to me. Because like food for me, I don't know. It's just so sad. Like seeing people eat alone, like makes me really, really upset.
That's exactly where I am. I don't know why I feel that way, but it just makes me tremendously sad to see people like eating alone, or people who are like injured who are eating. Like, or people
oh my god, that's fucking! Oh my god, it was a Captain Crunch commercial.
No, it wasn't Captain Crunch. It was like Raisin Bran. Yeah, it was like Raisin Bran Crunch.
Was it?
Yes, I think I could find it on YouTube. Describe it. Describe it for the people.
Yeah, I'll describe it for the listeners, the 5 listeners that we have. There was this commercial. I don't remember how old we were, but I remember Anthony and I having the same reaction to it. You see this guy. And he's, like, in full, like, he had, like, a horrible accident or something like that. Like, not horrible, like, you're like, oh, my God, he's disfigured. But, like, he's got, like, headgear all over the place, like, bandaged up. and he can't move his mouth. And you see his friend like take this Raisin Bran Crunch and put it in a blender and blend it up and put it like a little smoothie thing for him. And they put a straw in it. Oh my god! I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I felt like a little bit teary because like, like they put the fucking thing in front of him and he just goes.
Well, they put a straw in it too.
Yeah, they put a straw in it, and he just goes, "Thank you," and it's like his voice is all muffled, and he sounds like
because he's got one of those neck braces and like a retainer because he was in a skiing accident and shit, and he's like all of his arms and legs are in casts and stuff, and he just sucks a little bit. He's like, "Thank you," and they just keep sucking on it.
His voice is a little muffled because he can't speak correctly, and he just sounds so grateful and sad. And I saw that, I was like, I'm never eating Raisin Bran Crunch.
I'm not supporting I've refused to support the kind of people who would make me feel this way.
I know, it's so fucking horrible after that. Like, I had that, like, the reaction that you would have to the furry thing. I literally, like, I gotta go. Like, I took a shower.
Just like a cold fucking shower.
I was just, like, watching shit, and it wasn't making me feel any better. Like, horrible. It was so sad. And, I remember, I see people in McDonald's, and you can tell they just got, like, off a shift of, like, in, like, Home Depot, like a 10-hour shift, and they're just, like, fucking sad. And they're eating, like, this Big Mac. And they're probably fucking thinking the way you were about the Choco Taco. Like, this is pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I just die inside. Like, I just can't. I can't handle it. And, like, I'll see Dad. I know, like, Dad's not super depressed when he's eating or anything like that. But, like, he'll be watching a movie, and he'll just be, like, sitting at the table alone, like, eating a sandwich or something. And I just go over. I have to hug him. Because I feel horrible. And I know it's not, like, I just can't handle it. I can't handle it.
I really wonder what it is. Because I wonder if it's, like... I was trying to think about it because I saw footage of like either starving people or poor people or crippled people. There's something wrong with them, and they were eating. They might have been retarded. I don't know, but they were eating. There's something wrong, and they were eating. And that's probably the least sensitive sentence I've ever spoken in my life.
Everyone listening to this, go back a couple seconds and listen to that again.
That's worth making your ringtone. But yeah, it was some group of people who were eating. It was really, really sad, and it made me sad in the same way that Raisin Bran commercial makes me, which I can't find, by the way. I don't know where it is, but which is probably for the best.
I realized the error, though. Yeah, I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, but I was wondering if it's because it's like everybody has to eat, like it's the great equalizer. Like we all eat, and we all sort of enjoy food, and like the things everybody enjoys are food and sex has weird connotations with it, so we can't feel that kind of way about it. But like food,
right.
No matter who you are, if you're a king or if you're a nobody, and food means different things to different people in terms of like how to share food with someone is like really different, really different than eating alone, just because of the social dynamics of food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was all just sort of wanking bullshit because I still have no clear idea, but I was just trying to like think really hard because like it really
like understand why.
Yeah, because when we talk about Cookie Day in some future point, like that was completely born out of the way that we feel about how sad it is to see people eating. I still don't know if it's just us or if it's like a universal thing because I've never talked to anybody about it other than you. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, and I was really glad that you felt the same way because I felt kind of weird about it. I was like, why food of all things? But like I thought about it actually, and I was watching a movie I remember once, and I can't remember what movie, but I just remember there was a character, and he was just like a complete asshole, had no redeemable qualities or whatever. But they had this scene where he's just sitting there eating by himself, and I felt bad for him. Just doing that humanized him for me. Like just seeing him eat made me not sympathize with him, but I just kind of felt like, oh. Like,
what movie was this?
Like, I have no idea. I can't remember at all. I just remember watching it and thinking that, like, why is that, like, just the act of him eating humanizes him in some way? I guess it's just I guess your explanation does make sense. Like, it's just, like, something that everyone has to do. I know there's something really vulnerable about it, though.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because I was trying to think, like, everybody shits, too, but shitting wouldn't make you, like, sympathize with someone because you can look really aggressive and still look like an asshole while you shit. But, like, there's a weakness inherent. Like, it's like admitting that you need this sort of food to survive. Like, you can't badass your way through eating.
And there's such like a...
Well, okay, that's not true. If you're a Viking and you have, like, a huge turkey drumstick and you're, like, raping someone, then, yeah, I guess you can badass your way through eating. But, like, within the realm of, like, regular human experience.
I feel like there's societal connotations for it too. There's just it's a very sensitive subject because of like weight problems and like you know what I mean, and like bulimia and anorexia being such a problem. There's just something that's very like sensitive about eating.
I don't know if that one does anything for me.
Really?
Because I get equally sad when I see fat people as I see skinny people. I was actually at Davis and I were at
Oh yeah.
yeah, but Davis and I were at Big Apple the other day, and I just turned to look, and there was this woman sitting there eating alone, just sort of staring at this empty seat in front of her. I was like, oh God, no, don't ever look at her. Oh God, this is the worst thing ever. Oh God, this is so bad. And then her husband came back from the bathroom and sat back down. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh, it was literally like watching watching a fucking hawk chase after like a cute little furry rabbit or something like that, and watching the thing like almost go for it, and then like suddenly the hawk just like somehow like stumbles out of the sky and falls down, and the bunny like runs away and has fun with his family. It was like this weird.
Yeah,
it was like this sudden moment of like, oh, thank God. He got away.
Oh no, yeah, no, definitely. I actually got tense when you started saying that, and then he was like she had a husband. I was like, oh thank God, Jesus Christ.
If this isn't universal in some way, we're gonna sound like the stupidest motherfucking people on the fucking planet. Like, if nobody relates to this at all, can you imagine how fucking stupid this is gonna sound? Like we're coming up with all these like societal, scientific reasons why we feel this way. It's like it's literally the equivalent of like, if nobody believes this, it's literally the equivalent of like people with that fetish for turning like foxes into balloons, like trying to explain. We've come full circle like that. If nobody believes like the shit that we believe in terms of like food and stuff, that's what we are now. Like, there are people having conversations about like, so why do you think that foxes getting turned into balloons is so sexually arousing? I don't know. Maybe societally, like, foxes are very gentle in the same way that balloons are. Like, if you prick a balloon, it pops. So something about that fragility. Like, that's what we're gonna fucking be.
Please, I really hope that someone else that doesn't like have a thing about furry porn like knows where we're coming from on this.
I don't give a shit if anybody listens.
More than anything else, it just makes me so fucking sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's something so fucking sad about it. I remember I was like, yeah, you remember Swenson's, that place where we ate like cheese fries and like had a milkshake once with Mom?
Yeah.
I went there once with her too, and I just saw this guy there, and he was by himself, and he was like heavy too. And he was eating like a fucking cheeseburger.
Oh no!
And he like had like this work outfit on. There's no redeeming quality to this story, by the way. It's just
this never gets good. It's like a video of that
glory.
video of the dog.
It's like the end of Glory.
It's the end of Glory, or I was gonna say it's like that video of that dog trying to turn itself over that's on its back. The the one where it ends and he never gets on his fucking front again. It's
Oh, so bad. But yeah, he was like wearing a work outfit. He looked like a cubicle guy. He had glasses on, he had a comb over, eating a fucking cheeseburger.
He's like Keith from The Office or something.
Yeah. And he was just fucking sitting there, and I like tried to smile at him, and I can't remember if he smiled back or not. I think I tried to block this out of my memory, so at one point the memory stopped.
Some people go to war, some people get raped, and they repress those memories. You fucking saw a guy eating a cheeseburger, and you repressed that memory. That's how easy your life is.
This is the height of my sadness.
Some people have to get like hypnotized to like reveal repressed memories of like horrible things that scarred them as children, or like things that prevent them from moving on. You're like, I don't want to think about that guy eating that cheeseburger anymore because it is unpleasant to my daily life of twittering and going to school. Fucking life is so easy for us. I feel guilty.
I'm in a fucking therapy. Doctor, I don't know.
You're sitting in the fucking waiting room next to someone who's like dad molested her. So what you in for? She's like, my dad molested me. You're like, oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I know what that's like. I saw a guy eating a fucking cheeseburger once. I'm right there with you, babe. I know exactly what you're going through.
I really want to be in a situation where I have to say that.
I saw a guy eating a cheeseburger.
Like, I didn't compare you to something horrible. Like, I got a car wreck. Oh, yeah, this one time I saw this guy eating cheeseburger.
like she literally just got out of the car wreck. She's still bleeding on her head. And you're like, oh, Kelsey, that's really sad. But I tell you about the time I saw a guy eating a cheeseburger? Like, it'll put your whole story in perspective. Just sit down and listen. You've told me this. Yeah, I know. I'm going to tell you again. It's okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so we got some...
Anyway, sorry.
No, we got some listener questions because I twittered right before we...
Oh, did we actually?
Yeah, because I just went on my Twitter and said, hey, we might be recording an episode, so just Twitter me questions. And, like, the 5 people who were following me were like, okay. So JT Homeslice asked, have you two had any good or bad experiences playing co-op games together? That's like an episode into itself.
Yeah.
We have a whole like. I'm the worst. I get so mad at you when we play Left 4 Dead. It's like literally.
Yeah, you do.
It's really not pleasant.
It's not good.
It's not pleasant at all. But we'll talk about that in some other because that's.
There really aren't that many stories for it. You have more stories about like getting pissed at Christina.
Yeah, but those are good too. Like.
Okay, we'll just save it. We'll just
just
make a Left 4 Dead episode or something.
That's what we do so much when you're back now. That like that's just our new method of bonding.
That you being really pissed at me.
Yeah, me getting fantastically angry at you because you didn't fucking shoot the smoker. Like I'm healing. He's like fucking bitch. Joe Pan says, "Oh, he has a question for me." He says, "Why can't you call Davis Ashley and Ashley sister?" Is because sister sounds really awkward to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, "Hello, sister." Yeah, hello, brother. It sounds like that makes it sound like crazy like cult members, like sister and brother.
Does.
Like, hello, sister. Did you kill the dog yet for the dance tomorrow?
Seance?
Yeah, for the seance. Thor will be very upset and distempered if you do not sacrifice the cat in time for the harvest.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother.
You are so humorous.
Your gesticulations amuse me.
Oh, I have a side story for you.
All right.
I was in Hollywood, actually, with my friend Charlotte.
That's a pretty good sentence.
We went to breakfast.
I was in Hollywood.
Right?
Yeah, I was in Hollywood.
No big deal. Whatever.
NBD.
Hollywood.
I was just hanging out on Cary Grant's turf.
I was hanging out in Hollywood. But the place we were eating breakfast, it was like across the street from the Church of Scientology, and this is like the legit Church of Scientology. Like it has like a little scrolling like text thing. It's got like its own little sign. It's like a huge building. And
okay. So just to recap, your standards for being the legit church is it had a little scrolling text thing and it had a sign. Continue. How many legit? Are you just like overwhelmed by how legit the world is when you like drive by like you drive by like high schools and it's like thank you to Chaz Roberts air conditioning and it's like holy shit lights and a sign. This is truly the age of
high school. I just had to stop and I was very overwhelmed.
This is truly the 21st century.
Like 15 different occasions.
How did people live in the 1920s with things not being anywhere near as legit as they are now?
How did they know that they were legit? What was their like? How did they know?
How did they judge things? How did they trust people? Please continue.
It's like a flowchart. Are things legit? Does it have a sign? Yes. Does the sign have flowy text? Yes, it is legit. That is my legit flowchart. Anyway, so we were getting out of the breakfast place, and we just see this flood of people wearing like white and with black slacks on, and we're like, oh fuck, they left the building. And so we're like going, and we're walking. They must all know each other because they fucking work in that building together. They're not saying a word to one another, and they're all white. All of them are white, and they're not saying anything to each other. And some of them have like little things on their like shoulders, like they're admirals or like sailors or like from the military or something. And this one guy has a fucking fanny pack, and he's like booking it. He's got like somewhere to go, and like a big fucking beard. And it's just like the most visually weird thing in the world. Like all these white people wearing the exact same thing. Some of them look like they're admirals walking towards me. I know they're Scientologists and they're not speaking. And then like we had to park in that parking lot because there wasn't any parking anywhere else. And I felt really fucking awkward after seeing all of them. I was like, we need to find a different place to park when we get back here. And I was like, oh, and the truck? Yeah, Charlotte's sitting right next to me. She reminded me. The truck, there's this, like, big fucking truck, and it looked like a scene from a horror movie, and it was like a stretcher with, like leather bonds on it, like, that they would, like, hold your, like, arms and legs down. And it just said, like, psychiatry. The signs of death. Like, and it was like it had like this green tint to it and like blood like text or whatever, and it was like the tour. And I guess we were like touring the country in this fucking truck, like spreading the word that psychiatry is the science of death. It was the fucking weirdest experience of my life. Like we just had a nice breakfast. I had like the best French toast of my life. And I just came in,
and you went into the real world, like you exited your bubble and saw the horrors of reality.
That was my realization. I was like, French toast is awesome, and then it's Scientology, and they're Scientologists. So that was my morning on Friday. And
every time I hear them rail off on psychiatry, it just feels so fucking like arbitrary to me. Like of all the things to argue against that are poisoning mankind, like psychiatry, really. Like everything else,
I know.
Like I actually respect like people like anti-gay marriage people more than I respect Scientologists in some respect. Because like I can at least understand there's sort of a logical gap between. I mean, it's not logical and and you're stupid if you think so. But like, you know, I can understand why an idiot would think gay people getting married would somehow change marriage and change the nature of like the way that it's perceived societally and like screw things up. Like if you're a fucking idiot, then yeah, I can see how you would believe that. But like even if you're a fucking idiot, like psychiatry is ruining the world. Psychiatry is the science of death. Like fucking what? That's like saying that like it's like making a religion whose purpose is to like decry like pipe cleaners or fucking like that one part of the loaf of bread, like the heel of the loaf of bread that nobody wants to eat. It's like trying to fucking ban that. It just makes it so fucking arbitrary to me.
It's really strange. I really don't. And I remember that one YTMND that you were watching that time that really freaked me out because it had the scary music to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It talked about like all the shit about Scientology and how like this woman like got in the car accident and like kept her in their basement or something and like didn't give her medical attention. She fucking died and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's scary. And the street was called L. Ron Hubbard also.
Oh, they got a street named after it? That's awful.
I know. It's really
incredibly unsurprising. Yeah, one time. Well, sooner or later, we can talk about the time Yuli and I went to Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah, that you went to the Scientology.
We got e-meter readings.
I didn't actually. You did.
Yeah, we did, but Yuli and I did.
You and I. Yeah, Yuli and you did.
Ulysses.
Ulysses.
Joe. Whoa! I just dropped a little tape thing on my dick. That was painful. A tape dispenser. Joe Pan also asked if you guys are going to make an Altered Beast episode, and neither of us have actually played that, so probably not, to be honest.
If we do, though.
If we do,
then we will.
Then
you'll know.
Then you'll probably sue us for giving us the idea. Fuck. Oh yeah, that was stupid. I should have put that right at the beginning of the episode, but I'll put it on the Podtoid post anyway, or the Destructive post. That Hey Ash, What You Playing comes back this Thursday. Yay!
Oh, yay! We'll actually have more shit to talk about than really, really sad things about food.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Yeah, maybe we won't actually.
Yeah.
Maybe don't get your hopes up.
But we come back next Thursday, and I'm working on a DVD right now. I'm waiting on Mikey to do some last menu art, and then we'll sort of select our favorites. But I think no matter what, I'm going to try, if I figure out how to do it in DVD Studio Pro, we're going to include all the fan art in just a section, but the actual menu.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Because I
really liked all of them.
There's some really nuts shit. There's some really cool shit. There's some really creepy shit. There's some really okay shit. But we need to put that all in there. And then also on Friday, if things go according to plan, on Friday there's going to be a new episode, the pilot episode of a new series from us, and by us I mean everyone in this household. Once Upon a Pixel is going to have a pilot that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be BioShock. And if people like it, then maybe there will be more episodes of it. And I would encourage everyone.
Ashley Davis' art again.
Yeah, Ashley Davis acts in it. Ashley Davis did all the art. Ashley Davis wrote a lot of the story beats, or her little.
If you're a fan of Ashley Davis.
And if you're not, then you're a fucking tool bag.
True story.
True story. Charlie Tony. Okay, so here's the problem: is that since Podtoid's pretty lowest common denominator in some ways, but it's also occasionally we talk about like legitimate analytical stuff about the industry and our places, bloggers and gamers and stuff like that. But I think people, since I'm on this and I'm on Podtoid, some people are like under the impression that there's going to be like any degree of like intelligent debate or conversation about the games industry. Because the next question I got was like from Charlie Tony. He was like, could single player and multiplayer parts of a game be sold separately for $30 each instead of $60 collectively? Could this boost sales? And like that now occurs. That's like this is like the equivalent of like asking. No, I can't say that. I was gonna say something horrible like.
You're gonna be hyperbolic like me?
No, yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. Or I was gonna say something horrible about like mentally disabled people. But it's like asking Larry the Cable Guy to explain what empiricism is or the categorical imperative. Yeah, I don't know, man. What do you think? I mean,
don't fucking put this on me.
Yeah.
No.
I like single player more than I like multiplayer, so I'd probably get the single player just first, and then that would be awesome for me. But at the same time, I don't know. Actually, I wonder. I'm actually kind of curious as to how that would change the workload for the people who actually make the games if they were going to release single player and multiplayer separately, because then they probably
people wouldn't stand for that.
I don't know, because Halo ODST, like the Halo game that just came out, like nobody gives a shit about the single player because it's like 5 minutes long. Although Nathan Fillion's in it, oh my god, so I'm gonna rent it. Um, and fucking and Alec Tudyk's in it, and Adam Baldwin. Yeah, I
No
know.
way.
No, I'm serious because they play.
Firefly reunion.
Yeah, because they play Halo, and Bungie really loves
Together, yeah.
Firefly, so they just made them like really big characters in the game. So I have to rent it just for the single player thing. But like evidently, a lot of people who really like Halo like don't care about the single player campaign, but they're getting it for the multiplayer shit. So I wonder like if it would be in like Microsoft's interest, or if it would change the production to like separate those two and say, okay, if you want to get the little single player stuff, play $30. If you want to play the multiplayer, then pay the other $30, and then I don't know. I really don't know. Shit, that's
Think about that. Maybe you could do like a reverend or something.
Well, no, because it makes my brain hurt. Because it's actually the stuff to think about. It's not just stuff I can bullshit and pretend like I know stuff about. Because it's a legitimately interesting question. It's not some bullshit thing I could just pretend to be an expert on, like I did with the reverends. But I think he should ask that. Charlie Tony, you should ask that to Podtoid this week. I won't be around to answer it because I'm going to be on a local radio show. Fuck, now I need to find the name of the radio show. So it's local for me, but it's also streamed on the internet.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs.
Oh, I think didn't that guy he stopped us at PAX and like talked to you about it?
Yes, and I emailed him.
For that?
I evidently, I guess on their one of the episodes of the radio show after PAX, they were talking about the time that they met me and you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except it's which is really surreal. Because it was like hearing these people describe a meeting with me from a perspective that I can't possibly like understand because I'm me. But hearing myself talked about it as like this other entity. Because the guy was like, I just grabbed his arm and like turned him around and said, "Hey, what's up?" And he probably fucking hates me now. I was like, I don't remember any of that. Like I don't.
You really don't?
Yeah, I don't remember getting. I mean, I remember talking to the guy, but I don't remember getting grabbed and turned around and thinking that the guy was an asshole or like any of that. So it's weird. It's like I imagine like hearing hearing him describe the me of that story. Like I imagine a dude just turning around and like scowling as hard as he fucking can, and just like ripping his arm away that's been like grabbed by this guy. And he's like really meek and scared that I just ripped my arm away. I'm like, what the fuck do you want? He's like, well, I work for a radio show, and it was get the fuck out of my face. Like I can't imagine like it was very very surreal. It was very surreal. Shit.
That is strange.
He didn't say his fucking name of the fucking Chatterbox Game Show. That's it.
Wait, what is it? Shadowbox?
Chatterbox Game.
Oh, Chatterbox.
Chatterbox Video Game Radio. The website is chatterboxgameshow.com. And
so everyone should listen.
Yeah, there's a number. If you call either 602-277-5369 or 866-536-1100, you can call in during the episode on Tuesday night, this Tuesday, at 9 p.m. PST or 12 a.m. EST, and you can listen to it on that website, and I'll be on, and I guess you can, yeah, on Podtoid I said you could probably call me up and just ask me like how old my girlfriend is and do what I did when we were on Suma's podcast, but whatever. Yeah, you can call in and just harass me, although that'd probably be bad. I'm not encouraging that because I don't want to ruin it for the poor guys who invited me. Were stupid enough to invite me on their show, but all right, we have a couple other questions. Pure Nasher, I think it's Pure Nasher, says what goes through your through your and Ashley's mind when coming up with a "Hey Ash, thank." Okay, no, I'm going to read exactly what he said because it's funny that way. What goes thought yours and Ashley's misspelled mind when coming up with a "Haup, thank"? and no punctuation after thank. This is what Twitter has done to us. I don't know what goes through your mind.
Do we respond in the same way?
Yeah, go ahead, do it.
I don't know how to go about doing that. We thank.
We thought
thank poop. Poop.
We thought poop in mind.
In mind. Sometime no. This is just like really mean to this guy. I'm sorry.
It's not his fault. It's Twitter's for the character limit.
Oh yeah, it's the character limit Twitter nonsense. What do we think when we go through?
I don't know. Usually it's like if we're thinking, then that's a problem.
Yeah, if we're like, oh, this game is kind of funny. Let's do, and then it's just sort of like we start thinking about. I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to force shit around. It usually doesn't work. It's usually like we just get an idea out of the fucking blue and it's great. or it
Yeah.
takes like 3 seconds of thought, and then we just sort of roll on it, and then it just goes into this sort of domino effect where if you get the good germ of an idea, then it sort of rolls into something. Cause I think we have this sort of weird thing where we can like immediately tell when ideas are shitty. So we'll say
Yeah.
things out loud, but even our tone of voice will be like, I know this is shitty and it's not going to go anywhere. I was just saying it in the hopes that you could run with it, and it never gets run with. Like, but
Yeah.
like every once in a while, we'll just get something where we'll say, "Okay, I got it," and then we'll just sort of like go on from that point. It's weird.
We
Fucking
had one night that was actually kind of good. That I just like laid out a bunch of video games, and we just thought about them each in turn. And Justin was there too. And we just kind of bounced ideas off of each other, and we thought of a few good ideas that night.
hmm
But that's because we had three minds working together.
And one of them
So
was
at
Justin,
least
and
two
he's
could
like,
be like, and, yeah, one of them was Justin, who was
he's
really funny.
nuts.
So like, it's pretty easy to like immediately say like, no, that's a horrible idea, or it's not bad, and then like develop it more.
well, and it's not bad. It usually turns into that's a horrible idea too. Like usually the ones we really go for are like, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
fucking Michelangelo at the beginning of Turtles 2. Or no, it was I can't remember which one it is. I don't think it's Michelangelo. I think it was Leonardo. With the fucking
Maybe Michelangelo, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah.
He's the one that likes to party, right?
Yeah, he's a party dude.
He's a party dude.
Raphael is cool, but he's also rude.
Why
Yeah,
did
right.
I watch? What was that fucking video that like I watched that like 1,000 times? Was it just? Do you remember that period of time that we were always talking about that, or like we kept quoting it? Was there, like,
yeah, the overtime comedy video. Is that what you're talking about? The overtime comedy thing where they look at the worst Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures of all time?
Well, did they include the theme song for it?
I don't know. I don't think they do actually.
Because I remember us talking about, and we always go, yeah, right. Like we always talk about that part, and then Michelangelo's a party dude. I think
Yeah.
they put it over something else now, though. Never mind.
Yeah, I think you got a good point. Do you know? I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I know I told it to Ashley Davis and our heads exploded. That fucking the voice of Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. A lot of people are gonna know this. It's not gonna be surprising to them. But was fucking Uncle Phil.
Say what?
Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was the voice of Shredder.
What?
I know.
No way.
I swear to that sounds like the most unbelievable thing now. But if you go to YouTube and just type in any like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode, the second you hear his voice, like, oh my god, it's Uncle Phil! Like unquestionably. Like immediately,
Oh my
like how did
God.
I never notice it before? It's that kind of like
The
holy
best
shit.
thing ever.
I know.
Holy shit! That's like the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Pie to the 42 asked what inspires you guys when running how. Pretty much just answer that. Shit just happens.
Yeah.
Kata Giraffe, I think, said, what future plans do you have for Haup? Oh, that was another weird thing. So those guys, the Chatterbox Game Show guys, I'll probably talk about this when I go on their show. But like, they were talking about the panel that they went to and how good it was, and like talking to me and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, he calls it Hope. Like he doesn't call it Hop, because everybody else calls it Hop, and we call it Haup because we're retarded. He's like, yeah, he calls it Hope. He doesn't call it Hop. And they're like,
Hope?
what?
Or Hope?
Yeah, like as in like Obama. And the other guys in the show are like, he calls it Hope. They're like, yeah, I don't know why he calls it Hope, but he does. Hope's he just I guess that's the way you're supposed to pronounce it. I was like, I don't call it Hope. That's not true. But it was like I was like talking to my monitor. But I was like, oh my god, have I accidentally called it Hope at some point? But I need to fucking lock that shit down. I need to learn to say hop like everyone else.
Yeah, we need to say hop. But Hope, that's such a like strange.
Hope
That's like
sounds
we are
like
like the last like Obi Kenobi.
yeah.
Obi Kenobi.
Hope sounds like you're trying to like gasp for air, or you're about to dry vomit or something, or you're trying to
Yeah.
like regurgitate food for your young chick ducks or whatever, or chick ducks for your ducklings. Yeah, he said, what future plans do you have for Hop? And do you have any? Because I sure as hell don't.
It would be ideally it would be really cool to get a booth at PAX, maybe if we could. That would be neat. But that's like all I thought about.
You have very humble future plans.
Yeah, I really don't want to think about because like if I get all these lofty ideas about what is going to happen, I have no idea. Like we're like a show, like a video game show on the internet. You know what I mean? Like it's like, what plans could I possibly have for this? I really don't know.
Yeah.
So booth at PAX, that'd be cool. That's all I got.
I've got this season, or at least the finale of this season, kind of planned out, and I've got next season, the finale planned out, like just the basic climaxes and stuff like that. So I already know where I want to go with that in terms of the future. But yeah, all I want to do is just I want the process of making stuff that we really like to get a little bit easier, which is impossible because that's kind of how creativity works. But yeah, I'd like to get a bigger audience, I guess, without having to change anything about our core values or sense of humor. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, that. I guess that. What do you
Yeah.
say?
I would love to be in a position that like the Mega 64 guys are in, because they're like fucking huge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, they're not just like dudes making videos. They make I saw them on TV the other day. They did a commercial for GameTap, like a real commercial, and they get hired
Really?
by. Yeah, I mean, no, a lot of the stuff they do now, they get hired by companies to just make commercials about their games, and like the games, they don't even have to be like explicitly about the games. They just have to sort of be like themed, like in the same sort of thing that they're just regular episodes are. But like they get paid like tremendous amounts of money just to do what they like to do, but also for these game companies, and that's really cool. And every GDC, they do like little interstitial videos for the whatchamacallit, the indie game awards, something,
Oh,
indie
do
game
they?
festival. Yeah, it's really cool. But like to get, yeah, and then Yahtzee does the little interstitial things for like the other one, the actual Game Developers Choice Awards.
Okay, I was gonna say like do Yahtzee or like Angry Video Game Nerd or any of them do anything like that, but I
The
guess
weird thing about Angry Video Game Nerd is that like he gets tremendous fucking like traffic, but he's just pretty much all he does. I mean, he works on Screw Attack and he does some other stuff at Screw Attack, but like, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him like just around in other different places in the same way I've seen Mega 64 or Yahtzee. But like he's like tremendously successful just on game shows. Like it's cool that he's just found that niche and is just really good at filling it. But yeah, we're in this sort of weird. It's not even a midpoint. We're like way below both of them in terms of like popularity.
Yeah.
But I would love to get to a midpoint between the two. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That'd be great.
But I don't know. Yeah. So I think someone was like, there should be a Hop movie. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you fucking retarded? No.
The funny thing about that is that like if we were to make a Hop movie, it would literally be like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the problem.
No?
Is that like sometimes my arrogance gets the better. Sometimes, like when I wake up and when I go to sleep and the time in between, my arrogance gets the better of me. And I think like, oh man, it's awesome that I'm getting paid to do really wacky shit, and I'm being creative, and I'm getting paid to like just be creative and film stuff, and it's art, and I'm an artist, and I'm awesome. But then, like, I think just for 2 seconds about, like, anybody who's ever had to write, like, a full episode of a TV show, or even, like, a full, like, narrative, like, short story, like, how incredibly hard that is in a completely different way. Like, it's not even like what we've learned here is going to be useful in, like, scaling that upwards to something different. It's, like, completely different. It's
actually, it's, like, counterproductive in a way, because it's, like, I wrote, like, 3 pages, and it's funny, like, why are you giving me money? Like, that's what it is. It's like,
yeah, it's like, why do you want me to write more than 3 pages? I don't understand. I literally don't understand what you mean. It's
literally, like, that's the problem.
Like, at the beginning, I was under the assumption that's like, oh, it's sort of like learning how to ride a tricycle, and then from that you can learn how to ride, like, a bicycle, and then into a unicycle that's, screenplays or whatever. But, like, right now, it feels like, it's like, okay, so now I'm using a kazoo, and then tomorrow, maybe I can fly an F-16 jet. Like, there's no fucking connection whatsoever. Like, they seem like they might be connected, maybe, no, but they're not fucking connected at all. Like, I can't...
That's the best analogy ever.
Yeah, well, I can't, like, go to Valve and be like, you should hire me because I'm funny, because look at these videos I did. Because, like, what the fuck are you what is this? This is 2 minutes of, like, your sister's, like, screaming at you, and then she stabs you, and that's the end of the thing. I'm like, yeah, this is my sense of humor. They're like, no, fuck, what are you're retarded. Leave. Immediately.
Yeah, we're both kind of fucked. We've been spoiled, actually, with Hop.
I very much feel that
really,
way.
Like, I was thinking about that, actually, because, yeah, and the other writing I do, after 3 pages, I'm like, this should be done.
Why is this continuing?
Why is this going on? Like, why am I still writing?
How do people handle this?
How do you do? Like, that's like literally like what goes through my head, and it's really bad because we can do.
It's like that scene in
2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes worth of material, and we get like 50,000 views. Like, that's absurd. That shouldn't happen. In the way.
There's a moment where I was like, you know what? Our comedy is so like focused and centralized and like concise that there's like more. It's more difficult and there's more strength to it than something like a full like sketch comedy show or something like that. I was like, no, that's not even. We're not even like writing sketches. Like, you couldn't even do the things that we do and turn it into a full like half-hour show. I mean, not only because the entirety of Hop Season 1 only amounts to about an hour and 30 minutes, not only because of, like, the time issue, but because there's, like, no, it's not even remotely similar. We don't have to, like, we don't do the work of, like, creating characters, that really matter, or like situations that are interesting. And they're just fucking like weird, goofy jokes that are like extended to 2 minutes. It's fucking like so odd, but like I mean they're really satisfying to do, and I really like them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I like what we do, and I think it's fun, and I think it's enjoyable. I mean, just for me to watch, but there's no connection between this and like any other kind of filmmaking or writing or anything at all.
In a way, though, I feel like we kind of are developing at least Dad's character, which is kind of funny because if you think about it, like all these like little nuances like to his character are just kind of developed. Like he hates me for some reason. Like he really doesn't like, and then like he actually like has like a heart because of the Vigo Pinata episode.
I think,
and like
the other way of looking at that is that we treat character in the same way that Family Guy does, which is to say like fuck it. Like if it's funny, if it works for a joke, then we will go back on everything we've ever said about a character ever. Because like Family Guy, like Peter will go from like being the worst person in the world to like arbitrarily like it turns into this like nice little like it's a nice little morality thing at the end, and there's no reason for that other than the fact that it was funny, and like that's perfectly respectable. But like we're not really doing it. We're not laying any like groundwork for some sort of big when I say I've planned out like the next few episodes, it's all in terms of like stupid, like over the top spectacle and like epic situations, and I mean, none of it's like, oh, Ashley's really going to change as a person, and like we're going to go on a dramatic arc, and you're going to see like you're going to look at her. It's like no, it's fucking it's explosions and fucking cool shit, and it's
don't say explosions. That like builds it up.
I don't think there actually are any explosions. Come to think, like any idea. I don't think there's a single explosion in any of the ideas I've had, but it's. Yeah, it's basically just me listening. I was literally listening to the Doctor Who Series 4 soundtrack and thinking like how I could structure scenes and certain finales around certain parts of certain songs, and like getting the chills like I tend to do. That'll be something we talk about later, is how like every time that thing happens in that one Doctor Who episode, I start like tearing up and like getting chills and stuff.
Yeah,
we'll talk about this some other time.
Spoiler episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Shit, this has gone on for an hour and 16 minutes. I think that's longer than the first one.
Shit.
It's pretty lead.
Should we stop?
Yeah, let's stop it.
Okay, let's stop doing it then.
Alright, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Wait. Is there anything else we got to do? Shit.
I don't know. That was like the least elegant way to end the podcast ever.
Okay, then just reminders, just for reminders' sake. Chatterboxgameshow.com on Tuesday at 9 p.m. PST if you're interested in hearing me on a radio show. Hey Ash, Whatcha Playing Season 2 starts Thursday. The DVD is coming. I have to sort of work out exactly how to distribute it and then get the final like menus worked out and stuff like that. Once Upon a Pixel, really importantly, is on Friday. And if you want to...
Also at Game Trailers?
Yeah, also at GameTrailers.com. And yeah, watch it. Tell all your friends to watch it because it'll be good. And if it's really good, then maybe we'll get a couple more episodes out of it. And yeah, if you have any comments or anything like that, you can hit me up at Twitter, I guess, which is twitter.com/Reverend Anthony, or you can just, more likely, it'd probably be better to just email me because I fucking hate Twitter, reverendanthony@gmail.com. And I guess if you have any suggestions about the show, I got really tired all of a sudden. Oh, man. Like, do you ever get that feeling where, like, all of a sudden it's like you get that, like, the Sandman just, like, ran by, like, on a tricycle and just, like, fucking, like, punched you in the face with a boxing glove? Just like right in the face, just like went by, like didn't even stop, didn't even get off the fucking truck, just boom, and then just fucking kept going, and then you're just left very dazed and very, very like. Ugh.
What's funny is that I imagine it like as Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and, like one of those like.
So like gothy fucking.
Yeah, I'm like a little girl's tricycle, like a.
With tassels going out the fucking sides.
Tassels, yeah, and like a little basket. And just punching you right in the face.
Right
that
in
was
the
a great
fucking
visual.
Face. That was a good visual.
I think that's a good visual to end on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Anthony.